Welcome to the current podcast. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Sports Wave. This is your producer Byron alongside Mauricio.
What's good? How we doing?
How you doing, man?
Doing real
we
good,
also
real
got
good.
our host Enzo.
What it do?
How you doing, bro?
It's good.
And last but not least, we got Manny in the building.
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
Hey.
Going, man?
Another week. Let's get it
Yeah.
on.
Sports Wave.
Let's start the sports wave. Can you get those waves to us, sir?
Let's go.
All right, the first one coming at you real hard. Barry Bonds. I think this is his 10th year,
Very
and it's his
hard.
last year where he can't, where he
could qualify,
he was
correct?
eligible to make the Hall of Fame, and due to his, his PED scandal and all that.
That's fucked up. What
They're not
about
letting him in.
What about Sammy Sosa? And,
What about
and
Poppy Ortiz that was inducted this year, first ballot?
Was he hit with that?
Yeah, he was popped with it. He was
But-
Poppy Ortiz
But-
was or
but Barry
Rodriguez.
Bonds was the guy that broke Babe Ruth's record. That's why they try to think they penalize him more. He had 600 home runs.
But don't you
overall.
think baseball was more interesting during that era
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
compared to what it is right now?
I mean, it's almost in the
Isn't that why we like to watch Ohtani? Because he's a pitcher who's scoring home runs all the time.
What, you like to watch him?
I mean, that's what's making him famous right now.
Yeah,
It's the fact that he hits home runs and he's a pitcher.
that's what people like to watch, and then at that time the ratings were up. A lot of things were
That's
up.
what Babe Ruth was,
the
a
money
pitcher
was
and
up
home
in
runs.
baseball and all that stuff. Like around that time, Sammy Sosa and who else was it? Enzo, I think there was some.
Mark
of those,
McGwire.
They were going for the home run.
Yes, sir.
They're racing for the home run record and all that stuff during that season. So
Byron just said it.
yep, Mark McGwire. He was with the Cardinals at that time, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. So that's that. Barry Bonds didn't make it alongside Clemens and other people that were during that era. And I don't know if it was because Barry Bonds didn't admit it to it or he didn't technically get popped like other people like technically tested for it. But they're just making an
So
example.
he
of
was
him.
smart and he knew how to weigh off of it.
Something like that. But the thing is that a lot of
No,
his
he got popped.
he got popped, but a lot of his records too were before he got popped. And before he was like the size
That's
that
still
he was. and all that stuff.
that's the era of the asterisk where they're saying that these players are gonna have asterisks next to their.
But at this point, then
records.
he's not even gonna be in anymore because this is the last year he was gonna be able to get into the Hall of Fame.
Well, his records are still gonna
Yeah.
stand. They can still
Oh, for
have
sure.
asterisks next to the records.
It's a damn shame. But the next, moving on to something else in baseball, Jackie Robinson turns 103 years old today. The person that broke the color barrier in baseball. It's just crazy to think what sports would be like if it was still segregated, and it wasn't what it is today. Not just in baseball, but in football. I mean,
Any sport.
just look at what Cooper Kupp is doing right now. I mean, people don't want to talk about that. We're gonna talk about that in a bit, but him being a white red receiver, people are like not giving him the credit that he should be getting at some point. But Jackie Robinson came to kind of put that all to rest
I
at
have
some
my own
point.
spin on that.
But yeah, what do you guys think about Jackie Robinson impacting sports?
I've always loved his story since I was a little kid. His story is very impactful, everything that he did, and how, he was able to do that with the Brooklyn Dodgers during that time and during that era, and to put himself in that position to pave the way for other people. It's amazing. It's amazing, and happy birthday to him.
For real. Happy birthday. That's crazy. 103 years old, huh?
Yeah, it's a long time.
So Nadal, huh?
Nadal shines as Novak watches from home. It's really interesting that now the next major open is also going to be in France, and they've implemented a vaccine mandate, so Novak might have to watch from home again. And Nadal's, you could say, the second best tennis player next to Novak. So it's interesting how that's going to be affecting Novak's. Would you say that affect Novak's legacy right now? Or do you think it's kind of he's still solidified as number one?
He's a GOAT.
Yeah. He still holds his position. I mean, his records are still there. People still know who he is, and he can still come back.
And everybody's always gonna remember this was COVID. This is out of their control. It's not the fight. It's not the athlete's fault completely. When it's like you got COVID. I mean, just imagine all the kids that were like senior years in high school that lost a whole year of college. You lost scholarships because they didn't get to play a senior year they didn't get highlights to send schools. Scouting reports and all that.
Yeah, it's
So kind of the same thing. So it's like his history, his resume already speaks for itself. Like Manny said, solidified.
Who would you say is second tier?
What do you mean?
Like his competition.
Not for Nadal.
No, Nadal's a GOAT, bro. He's been He's been.
Well, it's Novak and Nadal. Like Novak is considered to be a better. I think he's beaten Nadal more times.
I'm sure they have a ranking from one. I don't know.
But Novak's number 1 for sure.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it was the big deal, because there was like he was
Because
being he wasn't.
But it's interchangeable between majors. Like if he doesn't show up to majors, he can drop.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm saying it would affect his legacy overall.
The legacy's not gonna be
Nah.
affected, but the ranking will.
The ranking. Yeah. But
As of
he
right
can
now,
still come back though and
As of right
come
now,
up.
it says right here that he's been number 1 for a total of 358 weeks.
So he can still come back, bro.
Weeks, not days.
Yeah.
Weeks. That's crazy.
You can come back and get
Yeah.
it. Like that is, I don't think that's an issue.
Well, the person that is coming back right now to fight is Tyson Fury. He's gonna be fighting against a fellow with the last name White. I'm gonna pull up his first name here. But what do you guys think about this fight? It's a tune-up fight for sure.
Boxing expert, tell us, how do you feel about it?
No, Mauricio said it's a two-man fight. Nothing much to say about it. Tune up.
Do you think we'll see him fight multiple times this year?
Tune up to what? To Francis
probably
Ngannou?
If I don't know, Andy Cejudo said that he's not coming back to UFC.
Exactly, right?
So who knows? Maybe.
There might be a thing where he just goes into boxing because that's where the money's at, right?
Dylan White.
Well, that's where he'll get the most in one.
In
For
one
s-
fight.
For 6 weeks of work of training in the one fight, he'll probably get the most he's ever got in a whole contract of the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Just put it all
Mhm.
together, because he gets like 200,000, 300,000 for these heavyweight main event matches.
Do you guys know how much money Fury's gonna make on this fight?
Probably like 50 million.
Manny, what do you think?
Probably 100 million.
I would say 30 million.
Over under. Ooh,
He made that the last fight.
29.5 million is what he'll be making,
Yeah.
and his opponent will be making 7.4 million.
Yeah.
And the winner of the fight gets an additional 4.1 million as a bonus.
So
This is gonna be
so
happening April 23rd.
So you can make 34.
But this
Yeah.
is why.
But then also you got to include taxes. You got to include paying the team.
Nah, but this is
you gotta-
international, bro. Wherever they're
So-
fighting, if you're fighting,
gonna be in the
England,
UK.
Yeah, it's a whole different tax system.
Cardiff Principality.
And if it's in the UK, are we talking like million USD? Or are we talking million euro?
so
Are we talking
million,
pounds?
what I said 29.5
that
million,
all
that was
changes.
USD.
All right,
Euro
USD.
22 million.
All right.
The opponent White.
What
he's gonna
about
be getting-
pound? Because if you're in the UK, you're paid in pounds, not in euro.
Oh well, right here it's giving me the breakdown in euros. So maybe the deal could be in
I
euro.
think what. Oh no, they had the Brexit, so it's not a part of it.
No,
But the contracts could still be whatever currency, I believe. I don't think. It has
no,
to
it's
specifically be that.
UK has never used the euro. They
I
use
know.
pound.
But I think in private contracts it might be different. But
Yeah.
who's to say?
No, I was just talking
Huh.
to.
No, it's all in the.
Enzo's
It's in
point.
the black and white, bro. It's not. Who's to say that? That's gonna be.
Oh no, for sure.
It's
I
in
know
the-
what you mean.
in the
But
fine
who's to
print.
say? in
No,
the
you
sense
don't.
that
No.
we
All right,
have
moving
that.
on.
This is waves.
NFL.
Bengals. The Bengals. The Bengals.
Oh, we don't have the ESPN intro
The-
music
Wait,
on.
wait, just before I even go there, the Bengals, y'all. Where were did you guys watch this game at all?
Dun, dun,
There you go.
dun, dun. All right.
Yeah.
The Bengals, huh?
The Bengals, huh?
Who they?
How do you
Who
say in
they?
Spanish? Los Bengals.
Oh, Bengals.
Los Tigres.
Bengales.
Los
Los
Bengals.
Tigres.
Los Bengals.
Los Tigres.
Not del norte, though.
Los del Bergue. Hicieron del Bergue
Los,
esta
Ti-
gente.
los Tigres de Cincinnati.
Los
Against-
del Bergue noquearon al Mahomes.
Damn.
Uh-huh.
Would you guys consider the Bengals Cinderella story?
Change. I'm just kidding. When I started right now, I just heard a fucking Shrek song in my head.
They're projected to be the last in their division.
Right? It wasn't
You're
like
projected to be last in your division.
10,000 plus or whatever for them.
What happened?
That's it.
Was that many? 10,000 plus for
Mauricio got
what?
a little shell shock by me saying that.
Man, it's
yeah.
the truth, so I can't say.
Yo, the Bengals though, who would have thought?
Nobody.
Not me.
I knew.
I didn't
No.
know, but I was pulling for that. I really didn't want to see.
I
the Chiefs
doubted
in there
them in
again.
the first week. After the first week, I was kind of like, whoa. They knocked
Nobody-
out
Nah,
the
one,
Raiders.
they went up against the Titans, right? No, they went against the Chiefs
The
first, right?
Raiders
No,
first
Titans.
week. Raiders first.
No, because
No.
the Titans were in the bye week, so they went up against the Raiders first.
week.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And
Raiders.
honestly, I didn't see the
remember,
Raiders.
remember, I said I had the Raiders, and you guys all said
Yeah,
the Bengals.
because I didn't see the Raiders as a viable like the Bengals were coming on a hot streak coming off of this
It was
season, and so were the
interesting.
Raiders. But Joe Mixon is just another thing, man, and so is Joe Burrow, as we're seeing as well.
No, Joe Burrow's a real deal.
That dude I think it was against the Titans.
Tom
he got
Brady
sacked
2.0.
9 times, if I'm not mistaken, Byron.
Yeah, 9 times.
Again,
9 or 10 times.
So that fact right there, going up against the Rams in the Super Bowl, is where it's like, man, if this guy got sacked 9 times, able to beat these people, this team at home, goes to the Chiefs, beats them at home as well, and possibly could do that here on the road as well.
He would also be the first QB that's won everything, every trophy.
Heisman, he's won the college
national championships,
and then the
shit.
Super Bowl.
If he wins the Super Bowl, he'll be the first quarterback to win it all like that.
Shit.
The trifecta,
Sick.
as they will call it.
So
gonna
he
win
would
this.
go down in history as one of the greats if he's able to.
Yeah,
do
because
it.
the
They're
Heisman,
gonna
not
be-
many,
At all
not
levels.
many
He's gonna
quarterbacks
do
have
it.
gotten that.
And I think he also never lost in high school either. So he also came into college with a state.
I think that was the
championship.
other dude from Jacksonville,
No, him too.
Trevor Lawrence.
No, Joe Burrow.
No, Joe Burrow.
He also had a. I think he was like unblemished in high school.
I wouldn't doubt it in high school.
Yeah,
But,
so
But their opponent
he's
on
the
the other
real
side
deal.
is going to be the Rams, and they're able to beat their division rival in the 49ers after going up against them, I think 6-0
They
from what I
lost.
saw.
They lost to them in the
regular season.
The season
All
ending.
games, all games in the regular season they lost.
And it's something. It's to say something that it's something else to have to beat a team 3 times, especially going into their home.
And it's a mental thing that you got to overcome.
So are we all gonna admit it now?
It was also.
Manny and I are Rams fans.
It's clear. We got the receipts, bro. You is a Ram fan.
I said if they won and they won. And then I mean I'm rocking with the Saints still, but like now LA got a team. They found.
Hey, bro, Sean
I'm not
Payton
rocking
is gone,
with the
bro.
Rams. I'm
He's
not gonna have
gone,
Rams
for
jersey.
sure.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
But-
get a Rams fan? Come on, Von
No,
Miller.
I'm not a Rams fan, but I am gonna be rooting for them in the Super Bowl. I will tell you that. But I'm
It's
not
an
a
LA
fan.
team, bro.
Exactly, it's an LA team, but it's not.
So
a
who,
Rams fan.
you just
All
gotta
the
pick
shows you
one.
listen to are going for the Rams, bro. What you mean?
Of course they are, bro. But it doesn't
Stephen
mean
Mason, bro. Like, come on.
doesn't mean that I'm like a diehard for the Rams.
I'm not saying
if
that
if
either.
I am happy for anybody on that squad, it's for sure Von Miller because
I'm
I
happy
just
for
feel like-
everybody.
Hey, you got to be happy for Matthew
That team
Stafford,
is
bro.
low key like what the
Matthew
Lakers
Matthew
are trying
Stafford
to do.
was in a dead
Exactly.
team,
That's
bro,
like that team
for
is like what the
years.
Lakers are trying to do. They're like rebuilding and all these like names.
well,
in the
I got
league.
emotional ties to Von Miller. That's why I would say that over the rest of them. But yeah, it's a redemption story for all of them because even OBJ
First
going
time
to-
going to the Super Bowl.
going to Cleveland and not having the stint that he would hope for, all of that. It's a redemption story for all these guys, even for the guys that are already with the Rams after going to the Super Bowl and losing to Tom Brady, who's now.
But in that
In
time,
the
they
middle of
only had the
retirement.
running game. They only had the running game back in that.
Bro,
You
they didn't
really
even
think
use,
he's in retirement, bro?
I don't know if
If
you
you're
guys remember, but
Ye-
Todd Gurley didn't even play in the Super Bowl.
That's why. But back then, they only had the running game.
Nah,
Todd
they had-
Gurley
they
was
had
hurt
Cooper
in the
Kupp
Yeah,
was
he
Super
was
Bowl,
hurt.
bro.
No, that's what I'm saying. He didn't even play in the Super
'Cause
Bowl.
he was
and
hurt.
so their running game wasn't even there. Not even that was there. Nothing. Was
Yeah,
there.
but that season, that was their main thing. It was the
Nah,
running
bro,
game.
that was the season where they threw where they played against the Chiefs and they had they've always had these Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, all these guys. They've always been there. So like, that's the thing about Sean McVay. He's never been just a one-dimensional offensive coach. You know what I mean? He has many things that he's gonna go to. And it just happened to be that time they had Todd Gurley that could do multiple things, not just run the ball. He could actually catch the ball like Alvin Kamara and the Saints.
Lasted 3 years.
So yeah, that's that. But
Anywho.
now they have a better quarterback, but he's gonna have a lot of pressure on him
Moving
as
on.
well if he throws a pick in the Super Bowl.
Tom Brady, so not retiring. I think it was just a little distraction to see. He's not in the Super Bowl no more. He's not in the conversation. So he just wanted to put himself in the conversation with that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they're saying that he's not retired yet, I think he just wants to come out in his
He
own
came
terms.
out and said that, like,
Say it
man, I
himself.
ain't.
That's what I'm saying. He wants to come out on his own terms. I think he's still gonna retire.
Nah, his dad came out and
He's not
clarified it.
retiring yet,
That's
man.
still my boy.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers isn't gonna retire.
Might go to the Broncos.
His former offensive coordinator
What makes you say that?
is now the head coach of the Denver Broncos.
There you go.
Nathaniel.
The
That don't
Broncos.
mean
The Broncos fan is telling you why, bro.
Sir.
Huh.
And Devontae Adams is a free agent. So
And he's saying they might get Von Miller back.
nah. I mean, they could, because I know he's gonna be a free agent. So if he's looking to come back to Denver,
They win if they win a Super Bowl, I doubt it.
well, if they win a Super Bowl,
I doubt he's going back over there, buddy.
he has an option. I don't think he's gonna get paid out here either way. I think he just has options to be able to help out many teams. But if he wants to keep staying in competition, it just depends on what the Broncos do. If they're able to get Aaron Rodgers, I think with Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the what the offense has in the Broncos, they could do something with it. But if you add Devontae Adams to that, it's a whole different thing. But yeah, man, that's remains to be seen. But what is for sure is that the former offensive coordinator for the Packers is now the coach for the Broncos.
Did the Raiders just get a new coach?
I see
Yeah, the
that.
former of the Patriots.
Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, I believe.
Yeah, for the
This
Patriots.
is his second stint. He used to be the coach for the Broncos. Actually, he's the one that drafted Tim Tebow, and he only lasted a couple years, and then he got let go, went back to New England, and now he has the Las Vegas Raiders job. So he'll be facing Bill Belichick at least once a year, I would say.
Puro de verga.
Puro de verga. And the UFC this week, y'all, are back after not having an event this week. Bellator had an event this week.
So we had a bye week.
Yeah, on the UFC, but like again, Bellator had an event this week. But yeah, Jack Hermansson's gonna be going up against Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, he's part of the same gym that Francis Ngannou is part of, Extreme Couture in Vegas. So I was hearing a interview with that coach that Ngannou has, and he's basically saying that he took a couple days off and right back to getting into Strickland's camp. And Strickland's a pretty scary middleweight. I think he's one that could possibly challenge Izzy, as Izzy's kind of rounding out his opponents, like Kamaru Usman is again, like going a second round with the same opponents. Yeah, have you guys seen Sean Strickland fight? I think the last guy he fought was Luke Rockhold.
Negative.
And he also fought Uriah Hall.
I just heard you say that he's in the Izzy division, and I was like, that's Izzy division.
Hey, bro, this was some other shit.
Is he about to get Whitaker? I don't know.
Yeah, he has Whitaker next. But I'm saying he's rounding his opponents going a second round with a lot of these opponents. He already won a second time with Vittori. Now with this guy, Whitaker. And if he goes again, I think Brunson can be another opponent for him, because I don't think Brunson has lost as of lately. But yeah, that's what we have coming up this weekend with Hermansson versus Strickland. But yes, just since we mentioned Adesanya, he's going to be fighting on the pay-per-view of February coming up later this month. I believe that one's going to be in Houston. Houston, because it's going to be Derek Lewis's. So we have that coming up. And so speaking about Derek Lewis, he'll be on that main card against Tuivasa.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think is gonna win that fight?
Tuivasa.
Bam Bam.
Really?
Chewy.
Bam Bam.
Man, the last time I saw Tai Tuivasa go up against another person that had that knockout power like him, he got knocked out pretty bad.
But the last time that Derek Lewis had somebody that had that knockout power, he froze.
Exactly.
Who?
Bro, his last fight.
Ciryl does not have that knockout power because
he froze.
No, he froze against Francis.
He does
bro.
have. He does.
What? What are you talking about? He beat Francis. You know that? He was more active against Francis. Francis won that froze. That was Francis' first fight after he lost to Stipe the first time.
But yet they both didn't knock each other out, right?
But Derek Lewis was way more active in that fight. Francis was the one that literally froze in that fight. He didn't want to.
So don't you think that Lewis is gonna freeze in this one? Because
No.
he's coming off a loss.
There was a fight where Derek Lewis literally just went into almost what Romero did.
He faked like if he was hurt, and then he fucking swung on that fool and knocked him out. He did that to Dos Santos, Junior Santos. But not Derek Lewis. I think that he can, and especially he's getting redemption to fight at home again. I think he's gonna.
Yeah, because he
he
fucked up at home last time.
Yeah.
So who that was the fight that I'm talking
about.
Home
crowd. That's
but
against
that one
Sudogan.
he didn't freeze.
That was
up
against
Sudogan. I think
bro.
he was just going up against someone that was moving way faster than him, as we can see up against Francis. But now he's going up against someone that has more of his tempo, if you could say. So that's why that's the difference I see with Ciryl and Tai Tuivasa.
But at the same time,
froze.
Tuivasa is on that wave of undefeated right now.
No doubt. But he's also going up against the guy with the most knockouts in UFC history.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I got Derek Lewis on this Black Beast for sure. But it hurts me because Tai Tuivasa is a fucking dope ass person to watch.
Tai Tuivasa's light on his feet too, though.
Yeah. Not as light as Ciryl. These guys are gonna come be weighing in at the same weight. Ciryl was weighing in, I want to say 240. Derek Lewis is at the limit at 265. And at fight night, he's probably weighing a little bit more.
And then what's the next one? Going back to that middleweight.
Cannonier versus Brunson.
Curry just had 40 tonight. God damn, 49-7.
Yep, and they were able to beat the Nets the other day. Cannonier versus Brunson. That's another interesting one there because Cannonier was on the upstring and then he lost a couple of fights. when he fought Whitaker, and I forgot who else he fought. But up against Brunson, another guy after he lost to Izzy, he's been winning all of his fights. We saw him fight what's his name again? Kevin Holland, as of recently, and Kevin Holland is a very interesting guy. He's sponsored by OnlyFans and all these other things. But yeah, they're about to fight. So I think winner of that fight, not necessarily as the title contender, but Brunson can make a good case for that. And again, if Adesanya fights Brunson again, that's be the second time they fight. The only difference would be that when Adesanya and Brunson fought the first time, he wasn't the champion. But yeah, that's what I see in that happening. And then Khamzat Chimaev, I think, got booked up against Gilbert Burns.
Yep.
Gaiji versus Oliveira on May 7th. I think it's gonna probably be here. They wanted to do that in Brazil because Glover Teixeira is also in that fight, but it's gonna be probably here in the States. That's pretty much what we have coming up for the UFC. We'll get back to that as we go. But the NBA, man.
La NBA.
Yeah, ¿qué me puedes decir de Westbrook? And how he almost won it in Charlotte.
He almost won it in Charlotte.
He had a good game, but he just, I don't know, man. He could have drove to the basket tight and tried to go to overtime.
Yeah.
Basketball.
The Lakers are starting to be very. I mean, right now it's also hard to judge just because LeBron is out, but man.
And AD, both of them.
No, AD played against the Hawks yesterday. And he played in Charlotte. No, he didn't play in Charlotte, but he did play
in that game against Charlotte. They were both out.
He did play in against the Hawks.
So he's doing better from his wrist.
And the fact that the Lakers were able to beat the Hawks without AD but LeBron was playing, and they couldn't beat the Hawks without LeBron but with AD playing. I don't know. And me and Enzo were at that game when they were able to beat the Hawks.
But they're at the Hawks. Different dynamic when
Think
you're.
so?
Yeah.
It's an away game.
Yep.
I would, but for the most part, this team has proven to be kind of better away. Maybe not this season as much, but I don't know, man.
For sure not this season.
It just sucks to see the Lakers lose a game like that, especially.
I feel like the whole season's gonna be around 500 all season.
At this point, that's kind of where they're at. But it remains to be seen because I think they've only played 16 games together as far as the big three. LeBron, Westbrook, and AD. So if we can up that number in the last 30 or so games that we have left.
The LeBron James, Russell Westbrook experiment was a fail.
Yep.
I'm not ready to say that yet, but
yes, it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the only reason why it was, and I'm gonna just put it already, was bad timing in their ages. It was
true.
That's what derailed the experiment of.
Because this team, if you were to build this team maybe like 5 years ago,
for sure, man, we're dominating the West, and we're only contending against the Warriors 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But this team constructed right now is just too old. Russell probably came already. He's figuring it out. Last 5 games have been decent, but they don't equate to wins, and that's always been his issue. That he'll ball out and have the crazy nice stats. Shoot over 50% from the field, over 40% at maybe 38-40% from the three, and then like in the 80s for the free throw. But he won't get us a win. He didn't get OKC a win, and he had triple doubles for 3 seasons. So it's all good, man. Like the Lakers right now, we're gonna be trotting around 500 all season.
Now here's the next question: do we even make it to 8th?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be fighting between 8th and 7th, and I honestly think that's gonna be.
You know what
the
that
issue.
makes? You know what that puts us in, right?
Yeah,
The
we
play-in
got
tournament.
And that's why I feel
Play-in
like
tournament.
honestly, like the Lakers got to really get the mix together
Shit
because
together, for sure.
you don't want to get knocked out in the first round.
But if
Get
they
embarrassed by the
keep
Warriors.
9th, right? If they keep 9th, they gotta play the 7th spot.
Yeah,
right?
they play for the. So even if they're 9th, 10th, they'll still be in the play-in tournament. So right now the play-in tournament will
Yeah,
be the
but, like,
Timberwolves, Clippers,
just hearing
Lakers.
y'all right now
Blazers.
sound like
Nah,
that's
the
what y'all
reason
aiming
being,
for.
all right.
We're
if
putting
it-
hypotheticals if they stay
yeah,
here the
yeah.
whole rest of the
Yeah,
way.
exactly. The reason being
Look.
is if they get into that
Look,
8th
look.
spot, they're gonna have to go against the Warriors on the first one.
Bro, behind the you know how many games
Uh-huh.
they're away from the 5th spot?
I can't because you didn't put it up here.
But you want just take a guess.
7.
4 games behind. So 5 games behind if I'm being exact. So it's possible for them to do it in the next 30 games. They just like we're saying, we gotta get the shit together.
Bro,
And
we gotta hope that other teams
I just think
lose while we
I'll
win.
ask you guys this question for sure. have we reached the point where we can't fire Frank Vogel anymore? Where it would really be a detriment to the team at this point, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, you can't let him go right now. You can't,
I
dude.
think we're too deep into the season at this point. I think we've reached that point of no return almost.
What do you
Yeah.
mean? We're not even at the trade deadline. It's like a couple weeks away. Maybe after the trade deadline, maybe.
okay.
But right now, we're still like he still has games where
makes
he's
sense.
like, "Oh, bro, you're on hot water right now. We're in a losing streak against."
Two games, yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
thought it was 3.
the office is not gonna let him go.
No, but it was
Maybe
2
at
games
the end of the
because
season, if there's nothing as a
I
result,
thought it was 3 game
Let
losing.
me check it out.
But-
Let me double check that.
I don't think they'll let him go right now.
Yeah, because they lost to the Sixers. Fuck, you're right. So yeah, the last 3 games, in the last 4 games, they're 1-3.
Skit.
They were
Mhm.
able to beat the Nets, but that was also without
KD.
KD, without
KD and
Kyrie.
Irving. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Trade deadline is coming up on that
the
day,
10th, yeah.
10th of this month, and that's
It'd be
10
dope-
days away.
It'd be dope. It'd be dope if they could if the Lakers pulled off a coach trade.
That'd be crazy. Who you trying to trade for, bro? I want to hear this. Who you trying to trade for?
Jason
Fuck it.
Kidd is
Nah,
ready to go.
not even him because they're not gonna they're doing good with him, so they're not gonna let him go. But if they were like
Oh.
to trade, what's the Knicks had? Tom Thibodeau. If we got Tom Thibodeau, and
The Knicks are doing not that great though.
exactly, trade your coach, give us Tom Thibodeau. That'd be a dope act because he's a defensive-minded coach too.
Yeah, the Knicks are in 11th place right now.
That I feel
24
like
and 27. They have like the.
that I
exact same
feel like
records as the Lakers.
Frank in a weaker division with those players could make it work better for him. He's more of a blue collar coach, if I could say. And Tom Thibodeau, I feel like can get something out of the Lakers that maybe
That spark.
I don't know. I
The
heard
way
that,
to talk to them.
I'm only piggybacking on. I think I heard this from Skip Bayless or something like that.
Mhm.
Or maybe it was ESPN or something like that. And I was like, man, that's a good idea. Like, cause a couple years ago there was a trade where I think the Clippers actually traded away Doc Rivers to
Yeah.
to Orlando or
No. To the Celtics. The Celtics.
no, the Celtics traded him to the Clippers because he was on the Celtics
Yeah,
first.
and it was for like picks and stuff like
Right.
that. It wasn't really for their coach because they had just let Vinny Del Negro go, and yeah, they traded
You
picks.
can
for,
trade a coach for picks.
Yeah, that's what they
and
did.
money
I didn't know
too.
that.
Mhm.
Wow.
It was that money. Yeah, so I mean,
And
it's
I
all
think
contracts,
I
bro.
think that's how
I
Is
didn't
that
know you
how
could
Pop
do that
Pierce
with
came to the
coaches
game?
though.
it was.
I didn't
It
know
was
that.
like one of the first times it happened in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked to hear that. I had never heard of that.
Yeah.
Because I know with players, but I didn't know you could do that with your coach. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
And then the All-Star game is when? Let me look at that up because it's usually right before February 20th. So 10 days
sometimes
after.
it's around Valentine's Day.
So it's 10 days after the trade deadline. So 20 days from today will be in the All-Star game.
So the 20th?
Yes.
Where? What city?
What I'm trying to see where that is. That's
I
interesting.
think it's Atlanta.
I want to say it is.
It's
no,
always in
no, it's in
Atlanta.
Cleveland.
Oh shit!
So
Ah,
LeBron
for
James
LeBron.
is going back to Cleveland. Yep. And so far, the starting lineups for that for the West would be Curry, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, John Morant, and Andrew Wiggins. He's making his first
2 players from the Warriors.
All-Star selection for the,
Well,
for the
Clay's
starting
on the
lineups.
bench, I'm sure.
I don't think they've announced the reserves yet. Giannis Antetokounmpo for the East, along with DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, and Trae Young. That sounds like a good matchup. I wonder if KD will play though.
Huh.
He's still injured, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they've announced the reserves
That's
yet.
interesting.
Betty.
Yeah. So that's what's going on there. Suns are in first place in the West. Bulls are in first place in the East. That's the NBA for today on the Sports Wave.
Take us away
to
with
the
it.
football.
Wow, today was a busy day. A lot of work. A lot of players moved around.
I like how you corrected me on that last one.
Yeah.
Because I saw that too.
So there was a lot of things that happened. Just to break it down, Luis Diaz, which is a left winger, was sold to Liverpool for 50 million euros. So they get to relieve what's his name, Sadio Mane, and Why am I forgetting the other guy's name? Salah. So bringing him in brings rest for their wingers at Liverpool. And then Barcelona ended up loaning Adama Traoré from the Wolves. This is interesting because he was raised by Barcelona Academy, and he was sold. So it's interesting now that he's coming back on a loan. He's going to be there for the rest of the season. He is a right winger, so we'll see how he plays for Barcelona in that position. Juventus ended up spending 90 million to buy Vlahovic from Florentina. So that's another interesting striker that they ended up bringing in. Manchester City ended up spending 17 million to bring Julian Alvarez from River in Argentina.
Manny, can I say something to you real quick?
Yeah.
River play?
How's your boy not on the list? Well, no, he's not your boy, but how is Mbappe not on that list?
Because that's not confirmed yet.
Oh, they just said
It's
until
just
summer?
it's rumors.
It was a rumor.
There's rumors.
Bid,
It's
right?
not confirmed.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Yeah.
confirmed. Okay, never mind.
Nah, it's a rumor.
So you don't want.
That's why I didn't put it.
I want to put a talk about rumors.
Bentancur
talk about
from
rumors.
Juventus was bought by Spurs for 20 million. Dele Alli, whose career was dead, they just bought him for 22 million. Everton, which is an interesting move.
When somebody gets bought for 22 million, do they keep the 22 million, or does that mean the club gets 22 million?
The club.
So how much does the player get paid out of those 22 million?
Well, that's all basically on whatever the agents agree on for splitting.
What the fuck?
The agent fee and all that.
Illuminati.
Yeah. So yeah, Dele Alli, whose career was dead at Spurs, ends up going Everton. And then Danny Van de Beek, which has been on the bench and not even playing at all for Manchester United. Manchester United decided to let him go on a loan. He went on a loan to Everton, and then all these two players were approved because Everton just appointed Frank Lampard as their new head coach after they let Rafa Benitez leave, which I talked about last week. And then the next thing, if you could kindly, Aubameyang. So today there was a controversial thing. Aubameyang had been having a really tough time in Barcelona.
I heard about this.
In Barcelona. He had a really tough time in Arsenal, and he was upset at Arsenal. He wasn't loving his football there. So this guy just ended up flying out to Spain, and he just wanted to basically do a medical and, see if they can get him, which shocked Arsenal that he just did that without even talking to the team. So it's like when someone just decides literally to quit. And he ends up doing a medical. They end up doing the negotiations, and Arsenal decides to just let him go. He was still under contract with Arsenal until the end of the season, but Arsenal let him go for free to Barcelona, so Barcelona didn't have to pay anything. So that's an interesting thing. We'll see how he.
Well, wasn't he the player
helps.
that I heard that the negotiations fell through and that they couldn't come to terms, and that he basically flew there and then had to fly back to where he came from?
They had fallen through for a few hours, but because like I said, he flew out there without the consent of Arsenal. So he just went out there just because he just wanted to sign. Like he didn't what's it called? Ask Arsenal, hey, can I leave your squad? Like there was no talks. So they were just kind of like shocked and confused, but then they ended up letting him go. Because technically, even if they signed him, Barcelona was supposed to wait for him until the end of the season. But now they're getting him mid-season because Arsenal just decided to let him go for free.
And do you think that's going to be a plus for Barca?
Definitely.
Cool.
The reason being that I think it's a plus is for the next reason. So Barcelona had given an ultimatum to Dembele, and they had told him that they wanted him out during this winter transfer window. His agent offered him everywhere. Nobody wanted him. PSG didn't want him. Manchester United didn't want him. Man City didn't want him. Chelsea didn't want him. None of the top clubs wanted him.
Because
So
of his injuries?
it could be injury prone. His attitude. There's a lot of stuff that's out there. But he ends up basically staying at Barcelona. Now, why I think this is a positive is because before both of these players actually know each other, they priorly played together in Borussia Dortmund. And if you watch the highlights of the assist that Dembele would give Aubameyang, they already have really top chemistry. So
That's
that's
probably why they went after him.
So having them, now that Dembele stays, then you have Aubameyang. I mean, I think it's a plus for them. We'll see how Barcelona ends up using them. I think it's very good for them. At the same time, this week we start having international games.
El Salvador beat Honduras.
But before that, they lost to United States.
Hey, bro.
They lost to the United States, bro.
But the United States lost to Canada.
Dog. Let me get my dessert before my veggies, dog. Jeez, man.
Canada, eh?
Canada just beat United States.
And they beat the United States, 2-0.
So
Go figure.
Yeah, and I think I want to say Peru beat Colombia.
did you guys hear about the guy that started all these the guy in El Salvador that started all these nationalized Salvadorians coming to El Salvador?
No.
They made like a whole I think a ESPN.
The current coach that we have right now.
No, he was like a scouter, and he would scout people and find all these people that were nationalized connected to the to Salvadorian, like
So they could play on the
descendants,
national team?
so they could play on the national team.
We're gonna look that up because we need to talk about that some more. But talk to me about Mason Greenwood, Manny.
All right.
I just
So
fuck you, man.
it's going to suck
Man,
to
fuck
end it.
y'all.
It's going to suck to end it in a very sad note. So Harriet Robson, which is Mason Greenwood's girlfriend, unfortunate news was that yesterday she ended up posting on social media some photos of abuse that happened to her, and her caption on those photos were, for those of you who want to know what Mason Greenwood does, this is what he does. So he ended up beating her and assaulting her. And then the worst thing was, the audio that she ended up posting, where literally, Mason is forcing himself, according to the audio where you hear he's forcing himself, trying to have sex with her, and she's telling him that she doesn't want to. As of yesterday, Manchester United already stated that he's no longer allowed to train with the club or to even play for the club. Nike already pulled the deal that he was going to have with them. And also he's already been arrested and he's in custody. We'll end up seeing how his case, goes along. It's very unfortunate news, especially for a girl to go through that. And at the same time, for a dude that was looking very promising to have that, his career be over.
What a shame.
Anyways, you guys have a good one.
Have a good night, guys. Peace. Current podcast.